Hi, I'm Erica Bronner, and I'm so fortunate to be able to be here with John Mocadlo.
It's a tricky one. Why do you think I simplified
it? Cadillac. And I feel so fortunate that he's carved out some time in his busy schedule with everything that he has going on to be here today to talk about where he's been, where he is now, and where he's looking to go in the next couple of years. So thank you, John, for being here
It's
today.
wonderful to be here.
So tell us how it all began.
How it all began. So I was 18 years old, and I was working at Mid-State Medical Center.
Okay.
It was the beginning of October 1998, and I answered a help wanted ad that said, sell cars. It was Barbarinos, make $7,000 to $8,000 a month, learn from the great Ron Capasso.
7,000 to 8,000.
And I was like, wow, that was like more money than I've ever even seen.
Right. That's a lot now.
Yeah, so I was intrigued, and I went into a patient's room that was on a respirator, and they had one of those hospital phones, the ones that kind of click down, you can put on the bed, you can put on the floor or whatever. And the patient was unconscious, and I actually took the phone, because this was really, nobody had cell phones back then. I hid behind it, and I called up, and I got Ron on the phone. He goes, hi, my name is John, I'd love to come down for an interview. He goes, have you ever sold cars? I said, no, but I'll do whatever it takes to learn.
Whatever it takes.
He goes, great, come on down. This Friday, asked for Joe Serra, interview. Went down that Friday, talked to Joe Serra, interviewed, and got the job. And I was like, wow, I am just amazing. I got this job to show up on November 1st, and there's 20 people they hired. So anybody that applied,
got the
job.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I felt like this big.
Right.
You
but
know,
you're like, whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. And I was very bold. And you got to remember, back in the late 90s, people who had sold cars through the 60s, 70s, and 80s were still there. They were in their 50s.
Right.
You know, now they're all, unfortunately not with us anymore, or they're retired. So they were all in the, three-piece suit and the gold Rolex and the vests and the nice ties, and, a lot of jewelry, which was fashionable back then.
Right.
And I had like my, tie and shirt in the box from like Brown
Right.
Factory. I had one of them, and I was scared to death, but I kind of just faked it until I made it. So.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So how long were you there for?
I was there in its entirety for 18 and a half years.
Wow.
Yeah, from first day for 18 and a half years. So yeah, they were really good to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
So during that time, you had to have met a lot of people and some mentors.
Oh yeah.
Who would you say was your greatest mentor during that time?
Oh,
or do you have different ones?
I have a
throughout?
couple. I actually have two that are standouts, and one that I'll call like a little bit of a sub-mentor.
Okay.
Is, Ron Capasso, which I'll always basically say to this day was my mentor. He was so brutally hard on me. Retired multimillionaire, uneducated, dropped out of high school, I think 8th grade maybe. I was a barber, and got into the car business, and literally taught me everything from how to dress, how to speak, etiquette, and it really, really helped me along. As a young kid at 18, 19 years old, I would do a lot of stupid things, and he'd be like, hey, you want to be a stupid kid, or do you want to make $100 grand? And I always wanted to make, that's what I wanted to make when I first started.
Right.
And he really pushed me. He was brutal on me. And, but, now
Like
to
a
this
dad.
day, like dad squared. It was a lot of tough love. And, he brought me to a certain end. And then Tom Barbarino was a wonderful mentor.
Okay.
Basically got away from the etiquette and was just really business. Where Ron, I would say, taught me how to be sort of a man in a business environment, where Tom was very, okay, this is the way things work. And, everything from business and tax advantage and, cash flow. And, it was like, so I got my bachelor's with Ron and I got my master's with Tom. So
okay.
It was
in the graduate program.
Yeah, the graduate program. Yeah.
So now, just going back a little bit, there has been, I've seen a story about how you were almost homeless when you guys started this job. So how did you,
I have wonderful parents. My parents were teen parents.
Okay.
And my father was remarried, and I was living with him. And they were having, with his new wife, they were having another child. And it was a small house I grew up in.
Mm-hmm.
And I grew up primarily in a 3-family house in a really rough section of Meriden.
Okay.
And he's like, listen, he's like...
This is your dad?
My father.
Okay.
He's great, and we're still very close. He's
Okay.
like, your brother's getting a little bit bigger, we need a room, so, we think it's kind of best that you go out on your own.
At 18?
Yeah,
16?
and 18.
Okay.
And so I was like, oh wow, this is pretty crazy. So, obviously being the very cavalier 18-year-old
Right.
that I was at the time, I said, I'm just leaving. I'm gonna figure this out.
Yeah.
And for 2 nights I slept in my car, and I'll never forget like standing out there the first day at Barbarino's. It was freezing out, and I had this car, and I had my like comforter like rolled up in the back, and I could see it. And I'm like, oh my god, I have to make this work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then after a couple of days, my grandmother was like, "Stop being silly, come stay with me." So I ended up staying with her for a while until I got my feet, which was wonderful.
The car might motivate you, but it's nice to sleep in a cozy bed.
Yeah. Well, especially you have to kind of dress up every day.
Yes,
So
yes.
it's really hard to kind of put yourself
Right,
all together,
right,
like
yeah.
living out of a Dunkin' Donuts bathroom.
You show up with a suitcase. You going on a trip now?
Yeah.
So that's amazing that you started from there, and now you had an opportunity to, in your 20s, right, to partner at one of the dealerships?
Yeah, so when I was 28 years old, so, it's very interesting because I thought I was the only one, but when I meet a lot of people who are, celebrities or, very successful athletes, they usually say their life doesn't start until their 30s or their 40s.
Oh, yeah.
So through my 20s, I didn't travel, I didn't go out, I didn't go to the beach, I didn't drink, I didn't do any of that stuff. I just saved. So by the time I was in my late 20s, I was able to buy a part of a store with Ron and Tom called Bob's Dodge.
Okay.
And from 1998 to 2007, there was a huge boom in the United States for the car industry. So there was just money everywhere, and I was very fortunate to make people a lot of money, and in turn myself a lot of money. So I saved it all, bought a part of the store, and it was great. Now, here I am at 28 years old, I'm a millionaire.
Right.
This is wonderful.
Right.
I worked for it. Financial crisis happens at the end of 2008. And
a snowstorm.
And
Do you remember that snowstorm?
Yes. Crazy. And
October, Halloween.
Yeah. And we ended up, we closed the store. Didn't lose everything, still saved some face, but, I kind of lost my status, lost my investment, and it was really disheartening. But then...
oh, sure. It was your first big loss.
Yeah, in
your 20s.
In my 20s, and you basically climb the mountain. You're like, okay, I get to the top of Everest, I'm here. The only person that goes down is you. But then there was like a snowstorm and it toppled me over,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I in turn went back to work for the Nissan store again.
Okay, back to Nissan.
Back to Nissan. And the car business went through a really tough time. The whole economy did, and it was doing very poorly.
Okay.
And but everybody was.
Yes.
And
so what do you think during that time? How were you still able to make your numbers? Even during that tough time?
That was a really personal growing period. I could say those couple of years were my biggest personal growing period, because now what you do is you have people that phase out and get, disheartened by the car business or the industry they're in, and so they drop out.
Now, was it a mix of people who just wanted to change industries and those that thought, oh, I'm in my 50s, almost 60 or 60s, I'm just going to retire and cut my losses now?
It was a mix of everything, because a lot of people were so used to making so much money, and were like, wow, there's not as much money as there was.
Right.
So a lot of people went out, and I looked for young and ambitious. And it was a wonderful crew we had building that store from 2009 to when I left. Because it was young, everybody was excited, ambitious, wanted to make a lot of money. So I always laugh in my business. I have a term in the beginning called no brain, no pain. Because they don't know any better.
Right.
It's when they become the expert.
Yeah.
Well, it's almost like, when they become 13 years old as kids, they know everything.
They know everything.
Yeah, and it was wonderful. And we had a huge trajectory upwards. And we went to do some record-breaking numbers. Store at
What's record-breaking?
1 year we did almost 100 million in sales, which was...
and what was the projected?
We just, we wanted to get to like 100 cars, and we had months we were doing over 300.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
so
really
you did
a
like
magical
3
time.
times the amount of revenue that you had planned for.
Yeah, it was...
wow.
It was really like we would outdo ourselves.
And that started in 2009?
Started in 2009.
Wow.
Yeah, and you know, the first 3 years were always tough years, you know, because you're coming out of a financial crisis, you're not sure, you know, what's going on.
Right.
But you really think when I say 3 years goes by like that in my brain, but
Yeah.
for someone to actually endure 3 years is a lot on a person.
Now, you say that was a time of personal growth. Where do you
Yeah.
feel that you needed to look in? Because you have to look inner.
Oh, yeah.
So what was that? Was it
Oh,
like,
yeah.
how do I get up in the morning? How am I
Yeah, I
going
mean,
to
it's
pay my
really,
bills?
it's really hard, you know, you wake up, you're 28, 29 years old, you're a millionaire, you wake up at late 29, you're not.
You're not
It's
anymore,
really,
yeah.
you know, a sobering
Can I
wake
afford
up.
that coffee today?
Yeah, you know, you're kind of like, wow, this
Yeah.
really sucks. And then all of a sudden you start making money, and then you basically realize that, hey, money is so important, and I like nice things, but it's not everything.
Right.
So now it's more exciting, you know.
So you realize it doesn't define you.
No, not at all. And
That is amazing to recognize that at such an early age. It really is.
you know, and you're proud of yourself when you buy, you know, whether it be a nice car, a nice watch, and everything. But those are mere seconds among thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of hard work.
Right.
You know, and I think it's really funny because we only get judged on our seconds of accomplishments,
Right.
and our hard work is never recognized.
Right.
But who wants to see a pitch black room at 5 in the morning when you wake up to do something? They only want to
Right.
see those, you know, seconds of you on the top of Mount
Right,
Everest.
right.
You know?
Right.
But yeah, it was really crazy. But it was just a lot more discipline, a lot more structure, a lot more learning. I kind of became a student again of everything. Where I thought I had mastered everything, I became a student again.
So you had to relearn.
Yes.
Because the consumer had a different mindset after that economy. Did you notice that?
Yeah. It was a lot more guarded.
Mhm.
A lot more people weren't as free spending with their money as they used to be. You know, there
More
were
questions.
a lot more questions, and it was also different because even though the internet was popular back then, e-commerce was not huge.
Right.
So now, you know, it's crazy because I started on TV in '04. You know, it's been crazy. Yeah, it's been crazy. You know, almost 15 years on TV. You know, and people stopped. You know, I was doing less TV and different forms of advertising.
Okay.
Even though a lot of
Cost
people know me
effective.
from that,
Right.
it started
More for
becoming
the
less
money.
and less. Yeah.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. So here you were. So that was 2009. You're back in the dealership for like another 2016, is it?
Yeah. So 2013, we started to expand our footprint. We bought
Okay.
a Mitsubishi store in Watertown, and that went great. And then we bought another one in Hartford.
Okay.
And that went great. And then we opened up another store, which went great.
So that's 3.
4. It was 4. So we had a
Oh.
Nissan store, the 2 Mitsubishi stores, and another
And-
used car store.
And how many years? 3 years?
It was 3.
3 and 3 years?
3 years. It was crazy when I say
Wow.
that. Yeah, we did it all in 3 years. Yeah,
Wow.
great team. We worked really, really hard.
It's a lot of recruiting, a lot of.
Yeah, oh yeah. So always got to keep your dugout strong because a lot of people don't realize that starting a business is easy. Getting the right people to run it
Right, the
and
team.
that are passionate and share the same views, morals,
Right.
goals as you are very difficult.
Right. Because there's no I in team,
No.
and you're still like whatever it takes.
Correct.
So how do you teach that to your whole? It's not just the salespeople. It's not just it's the whole team. How do you teach that whatever it takes mentality?
You know, I try to make an analogy to something that they like because everybody likes something, whether
Right.
it be, you know, race car driving or bodybuilding or sports or whatever. And you basically say, or Jennifer Lopez or whatever.
Right.
And you basically say, hey, you see this person? What do you think it took them to get there? You know, who do you idolize? If you saw yourself as one celebrity or athlete, what would you do to be that person? They're like, oh, I would do all this. And say, well, hey, what are your goals 5 years from now?
Right.
And you kind of put them in and you give them a plan. It's, you know, I kind of set people up the way they would set up with nutritionists. What are your goals?
Right,
you know,
right.
I want to lose weight. Well, losing weight is arbitrary.
Right,
you know,
right,
I want to make money. Making money is arbitrary.
Right,
what
right.
would you like to do? How much would you like to make?
Right.
And you set up the plan and you put it in place. And
Help
a
the
lot
reverse
of
engineer.
that's
Yeah.
it. And a lot of the times, if the people grasp it, some people are fast learners, some people are slow learners in anything in life. Sometimes some of the slowest learners, I was a very late bloomer in this business.
But
There-
not, you think, but not really. Look at
Oh,
you at 20,
yeah.
you're already a millionaire. there.
I know, but you know why I say that is
How's that
my first couple months in selling, it's either you're really good at it immediately or you're
Okay,
not.
so it took a little time to.
It took me
but
like
once you
6
got it,
months
you
to
were like,
really kind of
okay.
understand it,
All
and
right.
a couple years to perfect.
Okay.
Still perfecting it every day.
And it was always changing every day.
I'm still, you know, I've been in this business this week for 20 years, and I'm still a student every single day.
So, when that happened, like you tell people who, like, envision yourself.
Mhm.
Who is there always one person that you always envisioned yourself to be, or have there been multiple people?
No, you know, like one of my
themes.
one of my big role models, and I would say that I always follow. You know, everybody always says, "Oh, Steve Jobs." I was a big Larry Ellison fan.
Okay.
You know, because Larry Ellison's obviously the CEO of Oracle, super confident, a little flamboyant,
Yeah.
really goes in, gets the job done, very aggressive, really pushes people, and that's what I always really liked. You know, you know, I love how Steve Jobs gets, you know, kind of praised as this big innovator and anything, but Steve Jobs really was just a salesman. He didn't create the iPhone, he didn't create the Mac. You know, he was just a salesman. You know, but
and he had ideas,
yes,
but couldn't do it.
correct.
Right.
And so yeah, I kind of always saw myself as like a micro Larry Ellison. That's what I like, because Larry Ellison really drove an incredible sales team at Oracle. And if you ever look at his business practices, the top 3% of salesmen were rewarded with millions of dollars in houses and cars and everything like that. The other 97% were able to just get by. He just really looked at that upper echelon of people, and he really worked with them.
The top ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like an 80-20 rule.
Yeah.
So, what's next?
What's next?
Because you were in your car,
yeah,
you lost that.
Yeah, you know, after, you know, becoming
40
a millionaire
dealerships.
at, you know, 33, you know, it's like there was a couple years where I granted it out and got it all back, and it was wonderful.
Okay.
You know, the Barbarinos and I parted ways in beginning of 2017.
Okay.
I ended up with one store, which is a great store in Hartford, which is Mac Mitsubishi. And
so that's the one you guys had opened together?
yeah, we opened it together.
Okay.
And I ended up with that store.
All right.
And it was great. So we got that store. That store's up about 400% in 1 year, which is wonderful. And then recently, 90 days ago, we added Old Saybrook, Buick GMC.
Okay.
And
that's a new brand for you, isn't
yeah,
it?
Buick GMC. It's great. It's completely different. It's polar opposites.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're working downtown Hartford,
Right.
and then you're working Saybrook.
But
it's
even
completely different cultures.
Now, are the brands? They have their own identity as well? Like Mitsubishi has an identity, and GMC. So you've got to learn that.
Yeah, but
too,
you want to know
right?
what people don't understand is, you know, people fall in love with the mystique of the stigma and selling something fancy or expensive, when people completely forget you're still selling to a human.
Yes.
You know, what's the difference between a human that has nothing or a human you just give $10 million to?
Yeah.
Still the same human.
Same
Genetically, we still have the same conversation.
Right.
You know,
Same
and
ourselves.
yeah, and everybody laughed and he said, "Wow, how are you going to do it in Saybrook? It's so completely different from what
It
you're
is
selling to."
different.
I'm like, well, I didn't realize they're a different species. I just know that they're still humans.
Right.
And you know, it's great. That store's up about 500% in 90 days.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
It just
really wild.
hasn't made it a shot of Johnny.
Yeah, well, you know, it's really my partner Nate and I. We really have like a dream in, you know, in how we want every store to be, and we hire the right people and we pay them right. You know, we pay a little bit more than industry average, but we get incredible results. We ask for the right results, and you know, we put together a wonderful culture.
So, what's next? What are you working
What's
on
next?
Yeah, are you just sticking with the business? Are
no, I'm sticking.
Branching out a little bit more into other industries? What do you?
Yeah, no, I found out through trial and error that, you know, the car business is for me.
Okay.
And I've recently just started a new company called Enigma Strategies and Acquisitions.
Okay.
We purchase car dealerships and we take over car dealerships that are not performing too well.
So is Saybrook one of the ones?
That was the first one.
Okay.
And there's two more, which I will be announcing officially soon, that we've acquired, that we're opening up in the spring of 19. So 19 is going to be exciting.
Yeah.
And we have several more other projects we're working on right now.
Okay.
And I'm the CEO of the company. Who sit on the board is my partner Nate, and there's a gentleman named Charlie Clune who built Foxwoods Casino. He's a minority owner. Gary Giulietti, who owns Lockton Insurance, which is the largest private insurance company in the world. And we're just raising private equity to acquire, because I won't say you'll never see it, but you'll almost never see it again, because the price of car dealerships have gone up so much in the last 20 years that it's almost impossible to touch them, because these private equity and hedge funds and people like Warren Buffett, Warren Buffett just bought a group of dealerships for $3.6 billion. What normal human can save that kind of money?
Right.
You know, so you're kind of like seeing like the last of the Mohicans, and we're just grateful that we can be here at this moment.
And you've learned in your 20s, do you want to put all your eggs in that basket? Maybe you can, put some in.
Well, we kind of diversify, and we come up with a strategy. So it's really good to really capitalize on the market we're going into.
Right.
So there's a lot of strategy to the whole thing. It's not just we call it it's more like sniper shots as opposed to just spraying a bunch of bullets and hoping to hit something.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, I just want to touch a little bit more on someone starts, let's just say you have, a new salesperson comes to start.
Yes.
How does that go?
Well,
is it the same model in all your?
I really hire on the person.
Okay.
I really don't care about accolades. You mean, a diploma can be printed off on the internet.
Right.
Like no one really cares.
Right.
And you don't bring your diploma to a job interview.
Right.
So I look for young, ambitious, very willing to sacrifice, and willing to start at a smaller amount of money with a massive amount of reward within 3 years.
Okay, so they're coachable.
Very coachable.
Okay.
And what I've even learned is when these hedge funds or these private equity groups approach these technology companies, these big startups, whether it be Facebook or Google or Snapchat, they look for a teachability in the CEO, because they want to groom them, because they know for the most part they've been sitting in a basement for the last 3 years not talking to anybody. They're usually very awkward. And a lot of times it takes 90 days to get them going, but I have some kids, I have 2 kids that are in their early 20s, and it's funny me calling them kids because I was there not too long ago. That made over $15,000 each within their first 90 days of employment.
That's amazing.
It's staggering.
So do you have a script for them to follow?
I usually spend about 3 days with them.
Okay.
And then I make a joke. I call it throw them in the throw them in the deep end with no swimming.
Right.
And I have them watch some of the old mentors, the OGs I call them. That I've recently gone and hired a lot of the people I worked with 15, 18 years ago, and had them come because they're great role models for these young men and women.
Okay.
And I'm finding also a very untapped resource is the young women are so willing to go out and do a better job than the men. And I found in a sales atmosphere that the women are much more effective. And it's going great. I have a couple new superstars already. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, all right, so you have the 2 dealerships, you have 2 more coming up next year, you have your private equity firm that hopefully you'll be having more. Anything else that you're working on? Or?
That's it. That's really it. It's a lot. It's really a lot. It's, everybody thinks that, hey, I get to a certain point, and some of these, multi-level marketing systems I don't like, because they tell people that they're going to reach a certain level and they're going to retire.
Okay.
It's not the truth, because if you're living
that's
on
sustainable income.
And they think they're just going to go out there and grind it out, or they have some kind of proxy that's lying that they have the product to make $20 million a year, which is a lot of it's BS. Yeah. So they don't realize how much work it is to keep everything going. So the whole illusion of laying on a beach, arriving in a private jet with Louis Vuitton luggage doesn't really happen. You still have to go to work every day and manage your assets. Unless you're worth in excess of $100 million, you're pretty much maintaining a day-to-day operation of your business. And that's what I feel bad, because people fall in love with the quick and easy fix, that they just think they're just going to cold call a couple people and be wealthy tomorrow.
Right.
It doesn't happen that way.
I sold my one today. I'm done.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, it's like anything, you know. It's like people know that hard work works, like they know working out works. But you know, you go to the gym for 9 hours, you look in the mirror, you still look the same,
Yeah.
but you know it's working.
Right.
But after a year of it, you see the results, and people just think they're going to show up one day and make $4,000 in a week, and then they're on their way.
Right.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, you got to show up every day like it's a zero.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Most important.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much. This
You're
has
so
been really
welcome. It was
fun.
wonderful.
I'm excited to have you here, and hopefully we'll do this again as
Love to
things
come
progress
back.
with you, or I'll come back.
Of course.
We're here
Love to
and
come
with
back.
this fabulous view here.
Yes.
So, big thanks here to John for spending some time with us today, and we'll see you again for another goal setting session.